special Defend Al-Aqsa program tonight. Thank you very much for being here with us, those of you who are here at the studios. And thank you for those who are joining us online as well. We're delighted to welcome to South Africa once again Sister Abeer Zayyad, who has a very impressive biography I have here in front of me. I'm not going to tell you all of it because that would take up the entire show. But suffice to say that she's the head of the Islamic Heritage Department at AlAqsa, in AlAqsa, and she's also a lecturer in archaeology at Al-Quds University. Apart from that, Sister Abeer voluntarily conducts tours of the Al-Aqsa compound. So if you're there at any point, please get in touch with her and go on one of these magnificent tours that she does, and make sure that she basically points out to you all these sites, not only of religious significance, but also of archaeological significance. So welcome, Sister Abeer. And of course, she also does a lot of philanthropic work. So she runs an NGO as well. She's pursuing her PhD in archaeology. She was previously the director of the Arab department at the King David Museum in Jerusalem. Yes, lots of things on her CV. She could tell you about it. Welcome. And thank you so much for being with us.
Alaikum assalam. I'm very happy to be with you. And as you mentioned something that immediately I remember what happened. That I used to work in the museum of King David for long years, and because I refused at the end to say about Al-Aqsa Mosque at Temple Mountain, I was kicked from my work. And also they give an order that none of any museum else give me any kind of job, and they put my picture and my information to be hit by any Zionist that seen me in the street, and in fact they shot me after that.
They shot you?
Yes.
Wow. So because Sister Abeer's refused to conform to the official narrative of the Zionist state, she's actually been targeted. And that is actually, as I was saying earlier, one of my primary questions to you. I know that the purpose of your visit is not purely archaeological, but wearing your archaeologist's hat, tell us from the archaeological viewpoint, is there any substance to this myth that's so often peddled in the media and, taken out in Jewish narratives, etc., that basically Palestine was a land without people for a people without land? From the archaeological viewpoint, not as a Muslim, not as anything else, purely as a scientist.
Jerusalem was established as a village before 10,000 years. The first city in the whole world is Jericho in Palestine. The continuity of living in Palestine since more than 100,000 years till today is a continuity of living.
100,000 years.
Yes. And they try to make a lot of study even on us to prove that we are not the native people, not Canaanite people that were alive before. But even that all these studies prove that we are the Canaanite. Of course, we are proud with our religion, with that now we call ourselves that we are Arabs. And this is far from shifting to Islam, that a lot of people in the region start calling themselves Arab. And the Canaanites have also roots connected with Arabs, so it's not a big problem. But they try to prove that we are not, that we came just the Islamic army when they arrived, that we are not the native people, that they are the native people. Even that in the Torah itself, it mentioned that when they came to Palestine in the date that they give it, which 1200 BC, that the Canaanite was there and they fight the Canaanite. So even in the Torah, it say that they are not the native people.
Yes.
But they like to deny that and like to take the narrative for the Zionists to have a permission or justifying the occupation and what they are doing against the Palestinians. But all the anthropology studies prove that the Palestinians today, they are the same Canaanite. Yes, there's a lot of families that they came to Jerusalem, to Palestine as a Muslim from all over the world, especially men that they came in the army of Salah ad-Din, and some of them are from India, some from Malaysia, some from Libya, Algeria, all these countries, and they came, but they married from the Palestinian, and with time they become a Palestinian. So there is nothing in ethnic has been able to change. So we are the native people. When the declaration of Belfort say that this is a land without people, this is was a completely a lie, because we was there and we was a continuity of living. We was a very developed country, and we have a lot of things that the British occupation had destroyed. For us to give the land, to make it easy for the Zionists to control it. And when the war of 1948, the Nakba happened, the percentage of Jewish in Palestine was only 20% of the whole people who was living in Palestine. And the British army had give them weapons, and even they fight with them, and they killed us, and we was fighting without weapons, most of us. And the British army even bombing some of our city, and then we are in the memory of Nakba. We can't forget our people that was killed in that time. So this was a big lie that they put it in the media, and they just sell it part of their propaganda to justify the occupation.
Thank you so much for that. So there you have it from the scientist's viewpoint. There is no substance to this myth of a land without people, for so-called for a people without land. Thank you for that, Sister Abeer. Coming back to your visit, this is your second visit to South Africa, and we're really grateful that you're back here with us. Tell us, what is the primary purpose of this visit?
First, I'm glad to be here again, and especially that I met a lot of people from South Africa in Al-Aqsa Mosque, especially in Ethiopia, and I know how many people from South Africa they are coming. They are doing a lot of fantastic job also in Jerusalem. My main goal was to encourage more people to come. This is the main goal, and also to give more awareness about what is happening in Al-Aqsa Mosque, not only from archaeological point of view, also the plans that are coming to Al-Aqsa, what they want to do inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, and also what we can do as Muslim in the whole world to protect and to help Al-Aqsa Mosque. Especially that, we as a Palestinian, especially Jerusalemite, we consider that it's our duty to protect Al-Aqsa Mosque, but also as a Muslim in the whole world, Al-Aqsa Mosque is part of Al-Aqidah, and that each one of the Muslims is own part from the mosque. As I remember, each one can own 1 millimeter from the mosque. So each one of you own 1 millimeter. So it's his responsibility also to protect this 1 millimeter. So if each Muslim start thinking like this, all the situation will be different. And also, I've seen a lot of people from South Africa when they come, they do not know how to manage which hotel is a Palestinian hotel, which one is where the Palestinian areas, where the store. Also, sometimes they are surprised with the prices in Jerusalem and how much is expensive. And also, sometimes they do not know how to manage their donation, their humanity work. So, inshallah, I will try my best to give them advices in these things to help them when they're coming and visiting to Al-Aqsa Mosque, inshallah.
Inshallah, that would be wonderful. There are a couple of people in the audience who recently traveled with me to Palestine, and while I've always noted the human rights bodies making comparisons between apartheid South Africa and the situation in Palestine right now, to actually witness that at first hand is something totally different. To witness the militarization of one of the holiest sites of Islam. And as you said, Al-Aqsa is not a Palestinian place. It's a Muslim place. It's a place that belongs to all Muslims. And to witness the severe, heavy militarization of that, the brutality towards people, which I'm sure some of you saw captured on video and shared virally on social media just the week before we went to Al-Aqsa, really, when you are there, that the brutality of the occupation is brought home to you. And if you travel into the West Bank, if you travel to places like Hebron, the place of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, the partition of Hebron into a Jewish site and a Muslim site is so heartbreaking. And the tension that arises from that our guide was so tense. He wanted us to get into Hebron, visit the masjid, and get out quickly because it's a flashpoint. And then you go into places in the West Bank, like Ramallah, where, by the way, there's a huge statue of Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
But also to go into places like Nablus, and I'm going to call on a few people to talk about that, and to see the number of people who've been martyred just this year alone really brings home the brutality, the murderous nature of this occupation. To see women being harassed in the old city en route to Al-Aqsa really brings home the nature of this occupation. So for me, I think it's really important as South Africans, politically as South Africans, not particularly as Muslims, that politically we go and help defend Palestine because we have come from that history of apartheid. But spiritually, as Muslims, for your own spiritual upliftment, Al-Aqsa is truly a place to visit. There was an alim, a South African alim who was there in itikaf, and he used to give a talk every day, Sister Abeer. And he said something that has really resonated with me. There are three masjids, for those of you who don't know, in the actual Al-Aqsa compound. And of course, the whole courtyards around it as well. But this alim said, this sheikh said, that there isn't a four-finger width. Put your four fingers together, everybody. There isn't a four-finger width of space in the entire Al-Aqsa compound that has not been prayed on by either an Anbiya or a Malaika. So a prophet or an angel has prostrated before our Lord in nearly every spot of Al-Aqsa. It is our third haram, our forgotten haram. For our own spirituality, we need to go there as well. So, Sister Abeer, thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Tell us now a little bit. We've seen, especially now in Ramadan, the scenes of brutality, the grenades being thrown into Masjid al-Qibli, the women being intercepted, the people being pulled out of line in Salah, etc. What is the current state of play in Palestine generally and in Al-Aqsa specifically?
Let's start like this, that the occupation and the apartheid system is not against Muslims only. It's against all Palestinian. But because the minority of us are Christian, and also the media, which is controlled by the Zionists, does not want to show the world what is happening against our Christian also. So they do not show it. So even during Ramadan, it was the Easter, and a lot of our Christian had been attacked by the Israeli, by the Zionist in the entrance of the Holy Sepulchre Church, which is the main church for Christian, for pilgrim, and they was beating, and they beat the priest in front of the church also. These things, they do not show it. And they, in this year, they try more than 3 or 4 times to burn some of the most important churches inside Jerusalem. And these churches was protected by brothers Muslims who protect the church immediately from these Zionists. So this is things that sometimes people outside does not know it. So the Zionist movement does not want anyone, none of Muslims or Christian or any other faith. Even they does not want the Jewish who does not support the Zionist movement. So it's an apartheid Zionist occupation movement. It does not have any real fact with religion, because in Judaism religion, for example, it's forbidden for them to enter the area of Al-Aqsa Mosque unless the Mashiach came. But even that, you see that they shift and they change a lot of these parts from their religion to serve the Zionist idea of doing the temple now and to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque. So it's the thing is not like people outside think, and how the media is giving to them. It's completely apartheid and occupation problem. Is not a problem between religion. So this is supposed to be very clear and very open. So this is take us to what one of their new minister say it in the media, Smotrich. He say very clearly that the Palestinians have three options. One option is to accept that they are slaves.
Ya Allah.
The second option is to transfer, and that they are willing to give money and visa to any country that we choose. And the third option, to be killed. And he said that we need to, as a Zionist, to remember that we killed them in 1948 and the world accepted. So we will kill them again and the world will be mad for 1 week or two. And that's it. And this is, he say it on TV. So it's not something that is hidden. So this is the plan.
And nobody, and he's a minister, and nobody
Yes.
actually takes him to task for essentially inciting hatred.
And the same minister that he gone to France, as I remember, and he put the map on front of him in the Zionist program. The map that he put it for Israel is a map with all Jordan and part from Syria and part from Egypt and Lebanon, that all of this is Israel. And he put it on media and outside on Europe, and it was in the whole media. So it's
so those are his plans for
yes,
for expanding
so
Israel.
it's not only the target is here. It's, when they finish from us, they will move for other areas to succeed, to have this Zionist goal, to have what they call it the big Israel.
Mhm.
So and they put it and this is something that they say it exactly. That's what they are saying now about Jerusalem. They have a map, a plan that they put it on their media. It's called the 2050. You can Google it and find it.
Yes.
This plan say that we as a Jerusalemite, we are now 400,000 person, and they want in year 2050 to have only 20,000 from us in Jerusalem. The rest supposed to be vanish. How? What the way that they will use it, they don't care. So one of the things that they the method that they put it added for transfer from demolishing homes is to change the mentality of the new generation, so they can, which will be much easier after they change their mentality, to transfer them. The main problem that they're facing with us in Jerusalem, the mentality of Jerusalemite, that our mentality, that our duty and our first priority is the mosque, is Al-Aqsa Mosque. So we does not care about anything else is happening. So they want to change this mentality, because if they are able to change the mentality, it will be much easier for them to transfer us. It will be much easier for them to take over the place. But even that, they are not waiting. They put a lot of a plan how to build or to take part from Al-Aqsa Mosque as a temporary temple till they are able to control the whole mosque. So one of the groups, they make a map, that a plan that they will take the western part next to Moroccan Gate, and where is the museum area, to make a synagogue there. Another group, they want more. They say they want an entrance from Babu Rahma Gate, and from there they want a bridge and to take the area of the Dome of the Rock completely with the Dome of the Rock. So this is the other plan, and they publish it also on their website. So it's not something that they hide it. This is something that they say it loudly.
I believe just on Friday, 3 days ago, there was an attempt to bring a goat once again into Al-Aqsa.
Yeah, next to my sister home.
Next to your home,
Yeah.
sister. So, and they believe that if they succeed in sacrificing a goat there, that will be the first step towards building their third temple. And so this group called Temple Mount, I think it is.
Yeah, they have a lot of groups, and they offer anyone who try to who succeed in that 25,000 shekel if he succeed in sacrificing animal, which is
a goat.
yeah, which
about
is
125,000 rands.
Yes. This is the
just to go make
the
a
price.
qurbani in there.
So it's a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
For example, today some of the roads in Jerusalem are closed, and they are attacking the people. And this is because they have a holiday that they gathering all their stuff in this day that they does not want it, and they burn it. So they are making fires now and everywhere, and they close a lot of the street, especially in the Sheikh Jarrah area. And there is now there's this things is happening in these time that we are speaking. And in the coming day, we have one of the worst days that every year we have it in Jerusalem, which they call it the Flag Day, which in that day that Israel say that they united Jerusalem, and they say that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and they celebrate in that day each year by attacking us in the street. So each year, since we was children till today, this is the worst day every year, and every year we try not to be not to be as a target, because if you was alone in this day walking in the street, you will be a target for them, that they will attack you immediately.
Businesses, they will attack
They
people. They
attacked
come into East Jerusalem, which is the Arab part of Jerusalem, waving the Israeli flag.
They enter from the Islamic quarter mainly, and around Al-Aqsa Mosque, and in our neighborhoods. They force our stores to close. Anyone who refused to close, they destroy his store. They attacked anyone in the street.
They chant death to Palestinians. They chant death to Arabs.
And they say very bad words about our Prophet ﷺ each time to make us mad. So each time they are doing this.
So they want to provoke somebody to respond against the vilification of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then they say that, oh, it was started by the Palestinians.
And last year also, even the journalist who was taping, any journalist was Palestinian, they attacked him and they stole their stuff. And one of them, he stole a phone of one of our friend journalist from Damascus Gate. He attacked her while she was on TV show, and he stole her phone. And even that it was taped, and they give the Israel police the tape, but even that the Israeli police did not do anything against that
but that
Zionist.
footage was shared. I remember seeing it on social media last year. So I think, there are several other questions I'd like to pose to you, but since we've had people come here specifically to be in conversation with you, I think it is time to open up the discussion to you, and also to encourage you to talk about recent events with Sister Abeer. I know many of you have been following the aftermath of long-time administrative detention prisoner Khalid Khadr Adnan, who passed away last week due to a hunger strike. He was one of the first people to start hunger striking. He's been detained several times, and he used that as a tool because there isn't other tools available. And we know that there are prisoners who have been in detention. So administrative detention, for those of you who are old enough to remember apartheid, is very similar, but perhaps even worse than our detention without trial here, because that would last for 90 days. And yes, you'd come out and they'd arrest you again for another 90 days, etc. But here, there are prisoners who've been in prison literally for more than 30 years, 37 years, I think. One prisoner, you said, Walid Daka?
Let's make it more clear. First of all, Khadr Adnan Sheikh Khadr Adnan was not the first one to start a hunger strike. A lot of prisoners had used it since the occupation till today in hunger strike, and sometimes all the prisons be in hunger strike together. So even my husband, when he was in jail, he was 3 months in hunger strike. So Khadr Adnan, Sheikh Khadr Adnan, he used it as a mechanism for refusing his administration arrested. Administration arrested a lot of our leaders, like Marwan Barghouti, Ahmed Saadat, now a new two leaders from Hamas, Ahmed Attoun, and others also. They are in this kind of arresting without any court, without any cause, reason at all. So we have from all political party leaders in this situation. So some of them had used the mechanism of hunger strike as kind of refuse, and Sheikh Khadr Adnan had used it before, and this time he tried to use it again. Before that, we first of all, we does not know how the death of Khadr Adnan happened, because we believe that they killed some of our prisoners before in hunger strike when they forced them to eat food by something they call it zonda. and then they put something like in the mouth on the prisoner, and they put the food inside it. So it caused death more than one of our prisoner in past, and we think that maybe they use it against Khadr Adnan also, but we does not know.
That's not true.
Because they did not give us the body until now to bury it. Anyway, if they use it or they did not use it, they are the one who excuse and make the reason for the death of Sheikh Khadr Adnan, and he's a martyr. But also we have other prisoners that they are in jail and they need immediately help, otherwise they will be die. Like the prisoner that you mentioned, Walid Daqqa. Walid Daqqa is a prisoner that he's in the prison since 37 years till today. He was supposed to be released before 2 years, and they did not release him till today. Walid Daqqa, now he have a cancer, and he need a very emergency medical help for him, and they of course does not provide that medical help for him. So Walid, he have a small daughter. He was able to have it by we have our prisoner, they send I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like when you send something without knowing of the prisoners, of the prison keeper. So they able to have children outside of jail because it's not allowed to meet their wives. So he have a child, which was her.
The child was through artificial
Yes.
insemination. Okay.
Her,
So through like what we would normally call term fertility treatment, artificial insemination, because he wanted to have a child.
yes.
So he managed to send.
So his daughter is only 5 years old.
And she's never met her father.
No, they allowed last week, I think, for her to meet him 5 minutes only
For the first time?
For the first time. And so it's very heartbroken to see Walid and to see his family, to see his daughter, and to know that if we did not do anything now, that he will be died. In personal level, I admire this family. Walid, he was with my husband for long years in the same cell, and also his wife Sana, she's a lawyer. She's also helped my husband when he get out from jail. So we know how much this family had done for Palestine, sacrificing a lot. And at least the least thing that we can do is to try to put a pressure that he get out from jail to have a treatment, and to try to live even a few years with his family.
Inshallah, we hope that happens. So I'm going to open up the floor to questions and comments. Please try to keep them short and relatively concise so that we give everybody a chance. And please try to keep to the topic at hand. Those of you at home, you may also engage with us on our social media pages. That's facebook.com/Salam Media, Twitter @Salam Media, and youtube.com/Salam Media. There's also a WhatsApp number that you can send messages or questions through on, 061 766 0355. I'll repeat that, 061 766 0355, and the Salam Media Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels as well. So I believe we have a roving mic. Is that correct? Let's take about 3 to 4 interventions, and then we'll allow Sister Abeer to respond. So I see there's a question at the back amongst the gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, bear with us. We're having some technical issues with the mic.
We can hear you.
Please identify yourself, if you wouldn't mind.
It's extremely emotional. It's very emotional when we talk about Masjid Al-Aqsa, we talk about Palestine. And I think we have, as South Africans, we have a very clear example as to how the apartheid regime was brought down. There was boycotts, there was sanctions, there was mass protests. People lost lives, sacrificed lives, and I think the days for peace is over. There's no way you can ever talk peace to Israel. They control the world. There's no doubt. They even control the Muslim world. We know the South Africans have a very beautiful holiday hub in the UAE, which is a big supporter of the Zionists. So we commend the South African Muslims for beautifully supporting the Zionist cause. Well done, Muslims. The point I want to make here is when we travel for itikaf, how spiritual it is to go and set itikaf in Masjid Al-Aqsa. How beautiful. But we shoot ourselves in the foot because we travel via Tel Aviv. We fly into Tel Aviv. We support the Zionist regime because the money that derive from the airport at Tel Aviv goes directly into killing the very Palestinians. We have an alternative to go through Jordan, but we seek the easy way out. I've just spoken to, and we've know that been numerous groups that went through for itikaf this year, and talking to them, they all go through Tel Aviv. How sad! It's a shoot. We shoot ourselves in the foot. We say, take our money, kill our brothers there, while we go and make salah in this Masjid Al-Aqsa. That's the hypocrisy that we do. The second is, I see on this little note you've got your tips on how to donate. I think the days of funding peacefully is over. If you give me a way that we can fund an uprising of resistance where we can get arms smuggled, how we get it, I don't care. We can get that done. Give me the number, and I will make sure that I will make sure money gets to that channel. There's no way of peace. There will never be peace. I mean, their talk is not only of incorporating Egypt and Syria and all that. Their talk is also of incorporating Masjid right into Medina Munawwara. That's the talk of the Zionists. They'll never forget what happened in Medina Munawwara. So their talk is Medina Munawwara must be part of the Zionists. Okay? So as long as we sit down and we sleep as Muslims, we will face the consequences.
Thank you for your input, Brother Riaz. Is there anybody else who would like to comment, ask a question? Shukran. Please identify yourself. Oh, what about amongst the sisters? I thought I saw a hand up earlier.
You can take his, because it's a very long answer.
So Sister Abeer says that while you're thinking of your inputs, she's going to respond to Brother Riaz because she has a pretty lengthy answer to his 2 points. I would like to encourage one of the young sisters here traveled to Palestine with me and went with me into the West Bank. I'd like to encourage her to share her experiences, if you wouldn't mind, Nasiha. But let Sister Abeer respond to Brother Riaz, and then we'll bring the mic to you.
I will start my talking with a saying from one of our leader. His name is Faisal al-Husseini, that he was killed by the Israeli in 2001. And Faisal also, his father is a Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Husseini, the leader of our Mujahideen, that he was killed also by the Israeli in 1948. So Faisal al-Husseini, he say, visiting the prisoner is not making peace with the prisoner keeper. So visiting us is very important. And to say that why you are using the airport or using Jordan, that you are supporting Israel airport, and if you come through Jordan, you are not supporting Israel. It does not going like that, because also when you're coming through Jordan and you go back through the Israel border to Jordan, you are paying taxes for Israel. So at the end, the Israel have share from that. But this is the only way to come to Al-Aqsa Mosque. If you do not came as a Muslim to Al-Aqsa Mosque, and a lot of you who was in Al-Aqsa Mosque this Ramadan, they can say that if you do not came, we will be alone. They are not allowing for anyone from the West Bank, from Gaza, from other Palestinian area to come. So if we start thinking that anything you are doing inside Jerusalem, for example, when you're coming to Jerusalem, you are using our hotels, you are using our store, so you are supporting our
The
economy and supporting
Palestinians.
our existing inside Jerusalem. Yes, of course, Israel will take advantage from that. Yes, Israel will take a share from this support. But if you left us for them alone, that will destroy us completely. So yes,
Absolutely.
this is hard. Yes, there is a little support for the Zionists in your coming, but also you're supposed to look to the big picture that without you, we are alone. And without your coming, we are alone. To
And
use
we
the
know
airport,
this.
yeah, and to use the airport or the bridge at the end is the same, because but try not to buy from their store, try not to buy
Yes.
from their airport. It's like that. So try your best to boycott their stuff.
Don't
Uh,
go into the shopping malls.
so
Stay in East Jerusalem.
stay in East Jerusalem, especially the Muslims and the Christian quarter. In this area is the Palestinian. Faisal al-Husseini, he said a lot of words. And maybe the other word that I will use it to answer your other side, it's also coming from Faisal al-Husseini. Faisal al-Husseini, and was his last statement, and I think he was killed because of this statement. Faisal al-Husseini say, buy time for Jerusalem. He says, as explanation for that statement, that we as a Muslim does not have the ability today for have liberation for Jerusalem, maybe, but we can at least buy time for the people in Jerusalem till we as a Muslim have the ability to have liberation for Jerusalem. So funding the people who are in Jerusalem, that our Prophet ﷺ had said that these people are in jihad all their life, is also part from jihad. These people who are defending Al-Aqsa Mosque by their life, they deserve to be looked at them. They deserve, I will tell you a story. When I was a child, the Zionists came to my father and they offered my father $10 million for his home. Our home is just close to Al-Aqsa Mosque from Cotton Gate. So my father refused. So they sent him another offer with the $20 million. He refused, and this was when I was a child, so you can imagine how much it was in that time. So he refused. So they sent for him a Palestinian from 1948 to offer him that he will give him the money, and that my father sell to that Palestinian guy and he will sell it to the Jews, so my father can say in front of the people that he did not sell. So my father said to him, yeah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know that I sell. So he refused.
Alhamdulillah.
So they kick my father from his work. They start going after my father in each work he was in. So they make us starving for almost 2 years. We was starving. And when the starving did not work with us to make us sell our home, they attacked the home and they try to kill us inside the home. So, and when my father defend us, because he defend us when they enter with weapons inside our homes, they arrested my father for 2 months just because he protect his family inside his own home.
So you get
So
arrested for protecting your
yes,
family in your own home.
so a lot of family in Jerusalem are going on these process. They make them starving. They make them working just to pay the fine. A lot of family are waiting for demolishing their homes. A lot of family, their children are in jail. So these family, at least when they seen Muslim coming to help them, when they seen Muslim coming to inside their homes, sitting with them, listen to their story, it will encourage them to continue standing, to continue fighting. And we are willing to give our life for this. I know that it's not easy now to have weapons. It's not easy to fight. We deserve to fight. like the whole world is giving Ukrainian permission to fight against Russian. We deserve to have this kind of a permission. We are under occupation and we are killed since the British occupation till today. Every time we are killed, each time we hear about shooting happening next to Al-Aqsa Mosque, we start looking of our own family. If any one of our own family is still alive or not, we does not know sometime if one of us is alive. When they attacked us, when they arrested us, we does not know what's happening. So it's not easy at all. It's not easy to grow up there. The first time they put a gun in my head, I was 9 years old. So at least buy time for us. We does not ask anyone to fight. At least buy time for us. And stand next to us, stand next to Al-Aqsa Mosque.
And I think it's very important that, we don't, as South Africans, we tend to have a little bit of arrogance about our experience of apartheid, and we think we know how to fight it elsewhere. But it's very important to listen to what the people on the ground are saying too, and what they want. So if Sister Abeer is saying that really they need us to help them buy time in Jerusalem, we need to actually take that on board as well. I do take on board what the brother said earlier, but we need to listen to what the Palestinians feel they need right now. I'll come back to you, brother. I would like to give some of the other people in the audience a chance.
Just I want to add two things.
Yes.
That our leader of Al-Mujahideen, Abdul Qadir al-Husseini, before he was killed by the Israeli, he sent a message to the Muslim Ummah. He say in his message, we as a fighter, as Mujahideen, we win this battle. I know that we will lose the second battle and that we will be killed. But I want to send this message to Muslim Ummah to say that we as a Palestinian, we fight and we did not left our cause. But you as a Muslim, you left us alone. And he was killed after this message that he sent it. And also, the other thing that I would like to mention, that our Prophet ﷺ, he ordered us to do things to help, to stand next to Jerusalem. He never, if you go all the hadith, he never ordered to visit, to live inside any place, to send oil to any place than just Jerusalem. Sending oil is not just sending oil or lighting the mosque, or it's like some people understanding minuting the mosque. It's to protect the mosque. It's to keep the mosque.
And
this
to keep
is
the people, to help the people who live there.
Without these people, there is no mosque.
There is no mosque. There is no Al-Aqsa. There is no third haram. And it's our forgotten haram, really. I really want to encourage you all to go there. Sister Abeer, also, I believe it's some of the more Orthodox Jews. They believe that when there is nobody or very few people praying at Al-Aqsa, that their time will have come. So we know that is their aim, to prevent Muslims from being at Al-Aqsa, which is why they give the people of the West Bank such a difficult time to actually come into Jerusalem. They make them jump through hurdles really to get there. We witnessed the joy of the people who were allowed to come during Ramadan, during that last 10 days. I spoke to a woman from Nablus. I ended up in this group of Nablusi women that Friday morning because I was going there to do a broadcast for Salam Media, actually. And I ended up with this group of Nablusi women. And the one woman, must have been in her 50s, says to me, this is the first time her 18-year-old son has been able to visit Al-Aqsa as an adult, because they target the young men. They don't let young men under 50 come in. And this was the first time in a long time it was allowed. And even then, people were telling me it took them 3 hours to get there. And they said that was good, because at other times it can take them 13 hours to get there. And then they've got to get back again within a very short space of time. That's how they controlled. They don't want Muslims to pray at Al-Aqsa. So we should be going to pray at Al-Aqsa. This is why they've made Gaza a massive open air prison. So yes, as I said, let's open the discussion out to you. Sister Abeer, I'd also like for you to elaborate a little bit on how to actually spend or disperse your charity when you come to Palestine, or when you send charity to Palestine, because this has become an issue an ongoing issue that perhaps a lot of funds, particularly from South Africans, but also elsewhere, are being channeled only in one or two directions and not where they're most needed?
First of all, you need to put your target. If you want to help Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque, or you want to help other areas. If you want to help Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque, if you are coming, there is ways that you supposed to use it. If you are sending your money, it's much better to work directly with a Palestinian charity that are inside Jerusalem. Will be much easier for you and for Jerusalem also, and to make sure that the money had really arrived to Jerusalem. If you are coming with your money, or even if you send it to charity and you are coming, you can be involved directly with distributing this humanity help. So you can distribute your money directly to the needy family and to go to visit these families, or you can do it through the charity with the parcels of food or such thing. But the most important thing, when you work with any charity or any person, if you want to give money directly to the people inside their homes, it's okay. But if you don't want to give money to others, you take receipt. Never give money to anyone without receipt.
And what about supporting the Waqf that maintains
The Waqf, you have two ways. The boxes, which is one is inside the Dome of the Rock and one inside the Qibli, the big wood one. And the second way is inside the offices, which is up level next to the Dome of the Rock. And you will get a receipt from the Waqf department that you had donate for Al-Aqsa Mosque. So if you does not have a receipt from the Waqf department, does not donate. To make sure that the money is going for Al-Aqsa, you're supposed to have a receipt from the Waqf department. The third thing, that some people, when they come to Jerusalem, they would like to help Gaza patients. So I advise you, if you want to help Gaza patient, to go directly to the hospital, because it's the only way to make sure that these people are really from Gaza, and to know how to do it is to go to the hospital. The hospital is very close to Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's 10 minutes in the bus, you will be there. And there is a social worker there, will help you to give your money directly to the patients. So it will be much more effective. And in this way, you protect, you will do your charity work in a correct way, and also you will help in a correct way. You make sure that your money is arriving to the needy family. So receipts is very important if you are working with a charity or the Waqf. And the other way is to distribute your money directly with your own hand, and to see to go to visit the family. And when you go visit the family, is not offended at all if you take the names of the family. So in the future, if you would like to go to these family, you can go and you can ask to make continue help to these family. So there is a lot of charity in Jerusalem. Make sure that you are working with a Palestinian charity. There is a registration paper from a Palestinian. You can ask about it and make sure that they have an office in Jerusalem, and take receipt.
Shukran jazilan for that. Thank you very much, Sister Abeer. Nasia, can we come to you now? Are you? And if there are any other inputs, questions, I do have you on my radar, brother, at the back there, the Riaz, but I would like to get some varied input.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
To everyone listening, I would like to just emphasize what I see that people are unaware of is that we do not take full advantage of going to read Salah in Aqsa. And our South Africans are scared, but I'm here to say there's nothing to be scared of. Do not forget that we are South African, we have a South African passport, we are foreigners, we are counted as tourists. So we are allowed to go inside, we are allowed to go and read. They might hassle us at the airport, they cannot do anything to you, they cannot touch you, they can just send you back. That is all they can do.
And they didn't even do that.
You are not at risk. So please do go and visit Aqsa. And as Auntie Aisha said, I did go into the West Bank. A few ladies did go. The day before Eid, it wasn't good planning because it's considered like a holiday. So everything was kind of closed. But while we do go and we read Salah in Aqsa, we should not forget that there is an actual war that's happening. There is tension. this stuff happening. So we cannot just go nicely, go to the hotels, just go and read Salah, and then not go and visit the places and see. You see actual bullet holes in the shops. You see families don't exist anymore. You see the pictures of the martyrs everywhere. The latest date we found was the middle of March.
Mhm.
And I saw on Instagram that they just released the body of that martyr like a few days ago. They hold the bodies for months and months. And we walked in those streets and you see it's actual war and there's tension and we need to be there for the Palestinian people.
And you also see how the settlements have expanded as you travel through.
That for me, it was so we took local transport, we went through everything, we even went through the checkpoint. I find it so courageous that Palestinians are so strong. They sit in the taxi and they go back to their villages. And on the way in your long drive, you are looking at people living on your land and you're looking at amazing estates that they are building. And that anger, I felt that anger, and I'm not even from there. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Whatever is happening it's 100 times worse than what people think. So yeah.
Jazakallah khair for that, Nasiha. I wanted this audience to hear from, somebody who didn't grow up under apartheid, because for me, quite frankly, going through Kalandia checkpoint was it's brought back flashbacks for me just to see that. And on Eid day, a member of my group said, "Oh, it's so sad that at Asr Salah today there was only one saf at the Dome of the Rock Masjid." And I said, imagine having to go through this indignity. We suffered it yesterday, just once. And for us, it wasn't even really a suffering because, as Nasiha said, we have foreign passports, so we're treated differently. But on Eid day, people don't want to have to go through that inhumanity, that undignified process of being treated as less than human, or being treated as a number. And perhaps that is why people chose to stay at home and celebrate Eid at home and not come to Al-Aqsa, say at Asr on that day. So we need to take these things into account as well when we tend to make snap judgments of, oh, there's only a few people here on Eid day.
Just to explain this, it's not because only that it's not it's because of the checkpoint, but from a different perspective.
Mhm.
Like you have this tradition in Al-Eid day, you go to visit your family, and you're supposed to go to visit the women's and to give them Eid. This is our tradition. So the problem, because of the checkpoints, the roads take a long time. So our men, especially that our families from the West Bank can't come to us in Jerusalem. So we Jerusalem people supposed to go to our families in the West Bank.
Mhm.
So some men, they go from al-fajr, from after Salat al-Eid, they immediately they pray Salah and they start going to visit their relatives, and they do not come back to Jerusalem till al-Isha time.
Mhm.
So this is why the number of the Musallin in the Eid day is less, because all the men is outside trying to arrive to their families, and the checkpoint that's become like catastrophe. Some of them, they spend more than 4 hours just in Qalandia checkpoint. So you can imagine, you want to visit one of your daughter, for example, she's living in Qalandia area, and another daughter, she's living in Bethlehem. You need at least 10 hours to do that.
And
in
we're
Eid day.
talking about distances of not more than 20 minutes north of
Yes.
Jerusalem or south of Jerusalem.
Without the checkpoint, you can do this to visit in half hour.
Palestine is a small country.
So the checkpoint is effect in each aspect of our life. And as we grow up, we see these walls growing, these checkpoints added. It's visiting families, seeing families is not easy at all. For example, my husband family, half of them have a West Bank identity card, and half have Jerusalem identity card. So it's very difficult. We can't meet in wedding. We can't meet in anything. So it's too hard to have this because of the checkpoint. And his brother is living just if there is no checkpoints, 10 minutes from us, and we can't.
This is everyday life, not an exception. It's everyday life for every Palestinian.
And people from the West Bank, most of the time, they are not allowed to enter to Al-Aqsa Mosque. In Ramadan, they say that they give us privilege. that they allowed for men who are more than 50 and for women to enter, and just in Friday and Laylat al-Qadr, and even one of the Friday this Ramadan they did not allow. So this is take us to another thing, that we need you in the mosque, because we need to fill the mosque. Without you, we will be alone as a Jerusalemite, and this is will not fill the mosque. So this year, for example, the number of the Muslims from South Africa, from UK,
UK,
from other countries,
even
they
Australia and
they
America,
was filling the
France,
mosque
alhamdulillah.
every day, and this was so joy for us to see all these Muslims coming and staying and filling the street. And the Israeli Zionist, they stop our youth, and anyone who look like us from the visitor, he noticed that immediately, because he looked like us, they stop him. So when he show his passport, it's allowed for him to come. But in the same place that he's allowed to come, he will see even Jerusalemite youth are standing outside of the mosque. Is not allowed for them to enter to pray. A lot of us are abandoning from entering to the mosque, and some of us are abandoning for years now from entering to the mosque. Imagine that you are living just next to the mosque and it's not
And you're
allowed for
banned
you
from going there.
to go. So sometime when you see the mosque empty, not because we choose that it's be empty, because of Israel obstacles that they put it for us to make this happen. Because at the end, if the mosque is empty, it will be much, much easier for them to make their plans, that they do not hide it at all.
And they really, they, as Nasiha said, they don't touch you as a foreigner, because they know that they'll damage diplomatic relationships between your country and what they think of as theirs, etc. But they also do try to provoke you in other ways, and you, or to try to frighten you in other ways. Not so much to frighten you away while you are there, but to frighten you to the extent that you will tell other people to stay away. And that's precisely why they'll hold you at the airport, especially the young people and some of the men between a certain age group, etc. They'll hold you there. They'll keep you there for 2 hours just to frustrate you.
But as I see from all the Muslims who've been locked for 2 hours or 3 hours in the airport, they say that the moment that they enter to Al-Aqsa Mosque and make the first sajda,
Salah,
they forget everything about
everything.
that.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. They want us to come back home. So even on departure, I mean, look, even if you've done something there that they disapprove of, they're not going to keep you in their country. They want you to go home. But again, if you're too early at the airport, they'll harass you. Why? They want you to come back to South Africa and tell other Muslims, I was held at the airport for 2 hours. So they want you to prevent other people from coming. And we should not fall into that trap. We really should not.
You just put in your mind that any time you are coming to Al-Aqsa Mosque and you are praying any place inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, you are praying in a place of one of the prophets. So what you need more than that? It deserves to stay 3 hours
Absolutely.
or 4 hours. It deserves even more.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions, comments for Sister Abeer?
I think Brother Riyadh is waiting.
Brother Riaz is waiting, so let's take the mic back to him, please. And I don't know if we have any social media interactions, Razia.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to make clarity that at no point do I say we must not go to Al-Aqsa. At no point do I not say that. My point was, why use Tel Aviv? First of all, you're giving recognition to Israel as Tel Aviv being the capital. Secondly, is that if you look at the funding that an airport gets, landing at an airport, the funding that you would get at an airport or just at a border crossing is way two different figures. Okay? So I'm saying is that if you had used the Jordan crossing, you fund less money to the Zionists. This is the point.
Point taken, brother.
Okay. The second is, I think, and beautifully said is your resistance leader that was martyred. He said the Muslim world has abandoned the Palestinians, which is very true. How true? But you go a step further and you look at the ayat of the Holy Quran where Allah says in Holy Quran, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan wa ita'i wal qurba. Allah ordains, He commands us to be just. Justice is a commandment of Allah. But yet we as Muslims, we would support the UAE, and we were to support the British football, and we would support all these people that are funding the Zionists, and we're Muslims, we're top of the list for the funding. MashaAllah, well done. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair for your input. Is there anybody else on this side of the room who would like to make an input? Brother Rashid? I think there's a comment here.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to know, is it easy for you to come in and out of Palestine?
Is it easy for Sister
Yeah,
Abeer to come in
Sister
and out of Palestine?
Not always. First of all, you need to understand the statement of Jerusalemite, because we are not having Israel passport and we does not have a Palestinian passport. We are in the middle. We does not have anything.
They're in limbo.
We are having a travel Israel document say that we are Jordanian, and we have another travel document from Jordan say that we are not Jordanian.
Oh,
So,
And have you ever lived in Jordan?
no, it's not allowed.
Exactly.
For us to live in Jordan or to buy a land or to buy a home in Jordan, because Jordan consider if they allowed for that, they will make it easier to transfer us from Jerusalem. So they does not allow, but they give us this kind of passport with this a sign on it with T that we are a temporary. And Israel give us a travel document, say that we are temporary, that we enter to Israel, not that they come and occupy us, that we enter to Israel. So our state is completely different than the state of people in the West Bank or Gaza or people who was occupied in 1948 land. So sometimes it's easy for us to travel, but also we have a limit time to travel, not like the people from the West Bank or people from 1948. If we stay longer outside of the country, it will not be allowed for us to enter back. And if we did not enter back, they will consider us absent. And if we are absent, it's a permission for them to take our any property that we own, or even if it's if for example the father or mom die and we have heritage, it's a permission for them to take that heritage. So it's very sensitive situation for us. But also they harassing us in coming and going inside the country. Last time when I came to South Africa, it was a very difficult time to go back. And they give me a lot of difficulty, and a lot of us also are abandoning from traveling. So each time they do it different. I know that after this travel that I will face problems. I don't know if I will go to jail or they will arrested me. What will happen to me? I'm not sure. But this is part from our life. I've been in jail many times, so I accept this idea. I know that I'm older than when I was in jail before, but even that it's part from our life, and this is something that is accepted for us. We have a duty and we accept our duty. Alhamdulillah.
also, I'd like to know, how did you get shot?
Which one? Which time?
Which time? Multiple times.
The famous one, because it was in live, that there was someone taping in Al-Aqsa Mosque, a live video, and I was shot in front of the live video. This is the famous one that they shot me. So I was in Al-Aqsa, and I was in front of Al-Qibli. They suppose that they stop shooting and everything is finished. So I act like there is no snipers anymore. So I was standing, and I hear one of brother from UK shouting my name from far. I did not know why he's shouting on my name. So when I just do like this, the bullet was in my neck. That sniper was aiming at my face, but I was not seeing him. But the brother from UK seen him. So this is why he was shouting with my name. But Alhamdulillah, in that day, that I used to have long hair, so I was doing it in a band. So the bullet was in the middle of it.
Oh.
So
Allah Ta'ala saved your life so that you could come
Alhamdulillah,
back
I was
here. Alhamdulillah.
saved. But when my family seen the bullet and that I fall down, they was very afraid on me. So it was also hard to see this on TV live, that you sitting in your home and seeing your child shooting in front of you is not something easy. But this is, again, it starts from our life. In the same day I was going back to the mosque, and the same day I was inside the mosque serving the mosque again. So this is our life. We can't leave it.
May Allah reward you
One
for
more
your courage and bravery. Please go
One
ahead.
more question. I've been to Al-Aqsa. I've been downstairs and I heard a lot of digging going on. I saw the pillars cracking.
Yes.
Is it still happening?
Yes. The thing
They're
that,
looking for the Temple Solomon.
yes, since the British occupation, they start digging underneath of Al-Aqsa Mosque and underneath of Silwan and the Muslim quarter from west side. All these excavations that they started, they try to find any archaeological evidence to prove that there was a Jew in Palestine before 3,000 years. Till today, they was not able to find any archaeological evidence to prove this theory. In fact, archaeology is giving a different narrative completely. But what they was able to find, that Jerusalem was established 10,000 years ago, and they was able to find a lot of Islamic sites, like the castles of Bani Umayyah that was built around the Aqsa Mosque. They was able to find a lot of archaeological evidence that is saying how much we was developed even the Canaanite time before 5,000 years when we become a city, and how Jerusalem was developed, but they was not able to find anything for them.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Rashid. Any other questions on this side? Is a question? Okay, is there a question? Yeah, among the ladies. Fatima. Please go ahead, Fatima, Sister Fatima.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My question is, are kids allowed to go to school? Do they allow children to go to school and get an education?
Yes and no. How is that? First of all, Israel is controlling most of our schools in Jerusalem. So most of our children are going to Israeli schools, and the Israeli schools are very, very bad in education. But even that, the law say that we children supposed to go to school, but a lot of children in Jerusalem are arrested in a small ages. Some of them are arrested in age 5 and 6 years old, and they will give them something that they call home arrested. Some of them, they spend 1 year home arrested, and this home arrested is not allowed for them to go to school or to go even outside of their homes. Of course, some children are arrested in jail, especially the children who are from 12 years old and above. So they spend, some of them spend years in jail. So these children are not allowed to have any education, and a lot of them been kicked from the schools after they were released from jail or finished the home arrested. So it's not easy, and this is one of the main issue that we have it in Jerusalem. Of course, the first thing that cross your mind, why a child 5 years old or 6 years old are arrested. Some of them arrested because they was playing in the football and the football hit a security camera, or hit one of the Zionists while he's walking in the street with weapons. So the camera is the football is very dangerous from a child. So it's enough reason to arrest the child. And some children, when they take them for investigation, they do not allow for the parents, of course, to come. So I remember one of the parents, his child was 4 years old. He bring all the toys and the sweets with his child, and he give all that to the police to take him for investigation. It does not make sense. He's a child. So
What does a 4-year-old know about politics?
yeah, once we have a very, very funny story. I consider it funny, about arresting a child, that they enter a family called Zidani in Silwan area, and they arrested all of their children, all the youth. So then when they go back to the office, they on the computer they find a name of another boy that they did not arrest him. They forget to look to the age of that child. So they go back to the home, they surrounded the home, and they start using the microphone that he's supposed to surrender for them. and and that child was only 2 years old. So his father was going out, holding the child in one hand and the diaper in the other hand, and say, "Take him." So
Allahu Akbar.
sometimes our story, it's hard, but
They're
we
also
like,
absurd, in
yeah,
a
it
weird
does not
way.
make sense.
Yes, they don't make
They,
sense.
you are surrounding the home like if he's a big fighter, and he's just a child, 2 years old. So this is tell you how much they are arresting Palestinian without any reason. How much is the punishment, that the way of they treat us. So yes, we have education, but also 50% of us in Jerusalem does not finish the high school because of occupation. If you look to the percentage of the people in West Bank and Gaza who continue their education, is almost 90%. So it just tell you how much is the situation worse in Jerusalem because of Israel control.
Mhm. And also, it's very much a system of so-called separate but equal education, which we know very well from our own apartheid history. I believe there are some social media interactions, so we're going to cross over to Shazia now to get a handle on some of those before we close up for today. If anyone's got a burning question, we'll try and take it. So, get it.
Okay, so Sister Abeer, there's a question from Fatima on YouTube. She wants to know if you could please comment on the importance of pilgrims visiting Masjid al-Aqsa frequently, and the importance of them staying and worshipping the masjid during the time of break-ins when the settlers are there. How important is it for tourists to stand with the Palestinians and not leave it just for them?
Any other questions? Okay, so Sister Abir, if you want to answer that.
As we said before, the Muslims, when they are coming to Jerusalem, they are using our hotels, they are using our stores, they are filling the mosque, filling our street. So they are supporting the economic of Palestinian in Jerusalem so they can continue stay inside Jerusalem. Also, they are filling the mosque. Yes, they have one mistake, in my opinion, that they come till Fajr and they leave and they come back at the dhuhr. So they leave all this time between Fajr and dhuhr, the mosque is empty. So it's very important not to leave the mosque empty in this time. I know that when you come, a lot of you would like to go to visit Hebron, to visit other areas, but remember the most important place and the main reason that you are coming is Al-Aqsa. So try to spend time as much as you can inside Al-Aqsa and not to leave it alone. As much as the Aqsa is full, again, as much as full, as much as it's protected. So your duty, if the Muslims in Jerusalem, in Palestine, are not able to come because of Israel apartheid system that's separating us from being able to enter to the mosque, it's your duty to fill the mosque. Each one go to Umrah, go to Hajj, come and visit Al-Aqsa Mosque. As much as you go to Umrah, come to Al-Aqsa Mosque. And anyone who comes to Al-Aqsa Mosque, I promise you, you will love the place.
I've never been to for Umrah or Hajj, and I've made a lot of dua at Al-Aqsa. And it was raining when we arrived at Al-Aqsa. So special blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah take me for Hajj, and then Allah bring me here again. I know it's greedy, Ya Allah, I said to my creator, but I'm going to be greedy. Bring me here again and again and again, inshallah. Everybody say Ameen, please. So really, it is that kind of place. Having been once, you will want to go again. I had 52 people in the group that I led there. There was one woman who had been there just this December. It was her 5th visit in December. And she came back again now in Ramadan. And I can totally understand why. And as Sister Abir said, you know, now that I know what Al-Aqsa is like, if I have to, inshallah, go with the group again, I'm going to divide them into rosters so that the masjid is never unattended by at least a few members of my group, especially in the morning hours between Fajr and Dhuhr, because that is when the Zionists are allowed in. And we need to be there. Burning question, I'll take one, and then we're going to wrap. Yes, there's one at the back there.
Jazakallah so much for the program. I just wanted to ask if you have like I know online there's lots of hotels and stuff, but you can't always tell which ones Palestinian owned, and sometimes they're not listed as well. Is it an issue for the Palestinians to have those, bookings online? And also, which ones should we go to? Jazakallah.
I did not understand.
Okay, so the sister asks, sometimes it's very difficult for us from a distance to establish which hotels are actually Palestinian owned so that we don't end up supporting
I make a
non-Palestinians.
list for you. I will give it to Salam Media.
Inshallah. Also, sites like Hungry for Halal and halaltravel.com, etc. I went and looked at those and to try and make sure that the hotels we were staying at were actually
You did not need to
Palestinian-owned.
worry about halal food in Jerusalem.
No, not halal food, but halal in the sense of let's support the Palestinians, the Jerusalemite Palestinians, because they are the ones really at the front line of defending Al-Aqsa. And on that note, I must say that, Sister Abeer, I am so impressed by this battalion. I can only call them a battalion of middle-aged and elderly women who stay at Al-Aqsa pretty much throughout the day and throughout the week. I met some of them, I interviewed some of them, kind of quasi-interviewed some of them, just because I thought they were amazing. Many of them have lost husbands, sons, brothers, sisters, entire families. And yet these women come there and see it as their duty to defend the masjid. To defend the haram.
These women and men, especially the old one, if they miss a salah, all their friends will be asking where they are. So they use all their life to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Yes.
And they will never left that place. Just one story before we finish. It's once in the 80s, they put in the media that they are going to attack our neighborhood and they are going to kill us. And we were seeing on Israel TV, these Zionists following the buses to come to kill us. In that moment, our men, any normal men, what will they do when they seen thousand and thousand with weapons coming to kill you in your home with your children? The normal people will run. Our men, they go to Al-Aqsa Mosque, they pray janazah on themselves, and they go back homes, and they start making us ready as a children how that they will defend the home, but also that how if they are able to enter to the houses that the men will fight, and how we as a children supposed to run. I still remember the sentence of my father when he tell us, when you run, does not look behind you, does not wait for a sister, does not wait for a brother, does not wait for a mom or a dad, just run. This is what they tell us. And I still remember that day. I still remember how they tried to kill all our neighborhood, and how none of us left that place or run away. That all of us is standing, and we are standing till today in the same neighborhood.
We should actually applaud your courage, honestly. Really. A few years ago when Gaza was under bombardment, I read that some mothers were actually exchanging children. Why? Because if their home is bombed, at least one member of their family will survive if that child is elsewhere. This is the kind of courage that the Palestinians have shown for decades and continue to show in guarding our third haram. Let us support them. Please, if it is within your means, go to Al-Aqsa. Sister Abeer, shukran jazilan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. I hope that people will continue to interact with you. And I hope that the rest of your tour goes well, mashallah, and that you have no difficulties, inshallah, in re-entering the city you are so passionate about and the masjid you are so passionate about.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah khairan.
And with that, we round up our broadcast, our very special broadcast called Defend Al-Aqsa. And we hope that it's been of benefit to both the people here at our studios and those online. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.